Hello, everyone. Welcome to Desal Group's Women in Ventures event. Today, we're going to talk all things being a woman in venture capital. We're going to form community, and through this event and other activities, we're doing our best to make the sector more diverse. My name is Mirto Lalakos. At Desal Group, I run our flagship programs at VC Lab, where we power the next generation of VCs worldwide. We also run Venture Institute, the new program looking to create the talent that will boost the firms that we accelerate. For those of you who don't know Desal Group, all of these programs and other kind of services is what we're doing to create the next wave of venture capital worldwide. We want to make this into a more ethical, more accessible, and more affordable sector for all to participate in. We do this by building and providing everyone with an array of programs, services, and tools to very easily build their venture capital firm. Our flagship program, as I mentioned before, is VC Lab, where we help emerging managers around the world launch venture capital firms. We actually have applications open right now for cohort 14. If this is something that you are looking to do in the near future, we'll be happy to receive your application, so make sure you apply. Today, however, we are focusing on women in venture capital. So far, we've helped to launch hundreds of firms that have at least one woman GP or managing partner in them. Overall, our community of emerging VCs is made up of 27% women, which is far, far better than the industry average, and we couldn't be more proud of that. However, we're not stopping here. Through our Female Venture 50 initiative, we aim to get this to 50%. And we're really, really proud to kind of say that in cohort X, which was we hit our record, we had 40% of graduating firms with at least one woman, if not a full woman team. Today, we have an amazing panel of women VCs here to talk to you about their experiences. They both not only participated in a VC Lab program, but they kind of came out the other end at the top of their cohort. So not the best of the women, the best of the full cohort. So we are so happy to be featuring these women. But before I, do a round of introductions, I do need to kind of read this bit out to you. So the content presented today is not directed to any investors or potential investors and does not constitute an offer to sell or solicitation of an offer to buy any securities. So thank you. I had to get through this. And with that, today we have Arsu and Jessica. So please, I'm going to hand it over to you. Maybe we can start with Arsu Takir from Trio VC. Arsu, please introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, this is a learning and sharing opportunity. So I am the co-founder and managing partner of Trio VC. Happy to be here and happy to be with you today.
Amazing. And next up, we have Jessica Kamada from Swizzle Ventures. Hi, Jessica. Could you please introduce yourself as well?
Of course. I'm Jessica Kamada. I am the managing partners of Swizzle Ventures, and I'm based in Seattle. It's great to be here. Thank you, Mirto.
Thank you so much both for dedicating your time today. So let's get into this. Let's kind of take it back to the beginning a little bit. Could you both share a little bit about your background and kind of what led you into venture capital? And maybe Arsu, we can start with you.
Yeah, before launching our VC firm, I had a consulting firm working with startups, angel investor networks, and innovation labs, innovation centers. My company's name was Urbanite Venture. Now I'm fully dedicated to my Trio VC at this moment. So I can define myself as a business strategist and subject matter expert on the smart and sustainable cities and sustainable mobility. I am into and very passionate about improving the quality of life in the cities. So since early 2000s, I've been in the industry. I worked for big technology companies as a a corporate executive for a long time and worked with international NGOs specifically on this topic. And recently, last 10 years, I have been working with startups, helping their growth and fundraising efforts. So I've been fundraiser all the time, but I learned different type of fundraising throughout this process. So in Miami, we are based in Miami. So my co-founders, Chidem Toraman and Didem Altop, also a very dear friend of mine. We were together. We were trying to build something new for startups because we all three of us, after having a great career in VC world, in investment world, and other places, so we decided to build Trio VC to help companies, technology companies, entering the United States and wants to grow in the United States. So we know that this type of startups, companies, early stage and seed stage startups needs network and the capital to be able to land in another country. So that's why we built our Trio VC.
Amazing, amazing. Jessica, what about you?
I love that story, Arzu. I know I've heard it before, but I love it when you tell it. Yeah, my background is on the operator side. I started my career in San Francisco in consumer growth. So what that means is I've been focused for the past 15 years on revenue generation and user acquisition for consumer technology companies. Started working at 2 venture-backed startups before I built a growth agency with 2 other co-founders. And we built that agency really to service, as it was starting in 2013 or so, the kind of mobile movement that was happening in the Bay Area at the time. So it was the right thesis of the agency and the right market timing. And we were able to help companies like Uber, DoorDash, Headspace, Peloton, you can see behind me, grow from their very early stages onto, you know, being able to raise subsequent rounds of funding through our operational growth marketing efforts. And as that business evolved, we then kind of worked with a lot more companies outside of mobile in the just consumer space. So consumer fintechs, mobile marketplaces, mobile kind of telemedicine services, and then onto retail and e-commerce and direct to consumer kind of through the pandemic. And through that experience of both building the business, so building the services business, and also servicing these startups, we started to see patterns in the best startups that we were working with. So understanding what was really helping them grow the most, what good looked like from a trajectory perspective, and things that the best companies had in common. So we started investing in companies out of our agency, and that's how I actually first got started in venture, kind of in this like operator investor role, and I really fell in love with the venture side. I also noticed this huge gap that was existing in venture. My co-founder of the agency was male, and I realized that no matter, you know, what his own experiences were, he really didn't understand the market for a lot of the female-led startups or the startups that were coming in that were benefiting women. And that's when I started digging into the issue that 87% of firms are led by men, and that really the only way to have power in venture capital is to become a check writer and have power in making those decisions and, you know, the businesses that are going to impact the world. So that was on the business side, kind of the impetus of me graduating the agency and going out to launch my own fund.
I love that so much. And I want to come back to a lot of the things that you both mentioned, but before we do that, can I kind of dig a little bit deeper into your kind of career? So you both kind of did growth consultancy or, you know, kind of led a growth agency. What kind of learnings did you get from that has equipped you to kind of be successful in venture capital? And maybe Jessica, we can start with you this time.
Sure. Piggybacking off of what I said, I think there's, from the client perspective and like VC startup perspective, we saw probably, I think we worked with over 100 companies, probably 150 companies, but we vetted thousands, probably. We vetted thousands of companies that came in that, you know, to be our potential clients. And so not only did I get a lot of practice in the, I don't know, deal filtering cycles, but I also got a lot of practice actually looking inside operational companies and understanding how they tick, and really like making the sausage, for lack of a better word, of manufacturing this growth for so many companies. So that, what I've learned is definitely a skill set that startups need. Every startup needs to grow. And so I'm bringing that expertise to founder teams as an investor. And I think the other thing, just running a services business, is that that is the definition, like you are in the services business. I was in service to my team that I was leading. I was in service to the clients, and we were in service to our board. And I think when you run a venture capital firm, it's about stakeholder management, and you are in service to so many other people. You're in service to your LPs, you're in service to your founders, and like, yeah, you're not the boss of anything. You're just like working for all these different people. And I think kind of drawing those parallels has helped me a lot.
I love that. I love that. And I think I don't want to be sexist or anything, but that, you know, feeling of I'm here to serve is something that the industry lacks in general. And I wonder if it's due to kind of the you know, diversity gap that exists. But yeah, I love that so much. Arsu, what about you?
Yeah, actually similar what Jessica said. It's the VC world is kind of you know, stakeholder management work, kind of. So throughout my career, I was doing stakeholder mapping, fundraising for companies, startups, and other businesses. And at the end, as a growth consulting for the last 7 years, you know, I've been in different aspects in the business, as a corporate executive, as a consultant, as an advisory board member. But at the end, as a consultant, I noticed that, and my partners also, when we discussed that, we are telling each other. So we want to help the startups because it is a kind of new technologies, new innovations, making us, you know, life is better at the end. So we want to help them, this type of companies, startups who is entering the US market. But whatever we are telling, sharing with them to be able to grow them, at the end, they need all the time two important things: network and strategic partnership also, and also VC money and it's institutional money to be able to grow in the United States. So that's why we saw that there is a need to be able to grow in the United States market as a new company, new lender in the market. So that's why we wanted to build our fund, and all these experiences from, you know, leadership, marketing, and growth. Chidam is a great technical profile and who has really vast experience in the VC fund management, running accelerator programs. Didem is the Endeavor Turkey's former director, and she's been also helping companies to be able to grow in different regions, different geographies. So all three of us, we are clearly stating to each other, the companies who wants to grow, we can help them with all our experiences. So that's why we wanted to, this is the ultimate, you know, how can I say, goal for all of us. Without money, without help them by investing the companies, whatever you are recommending, whatever you are suggesting as an advisor or consultant, sometimes they are not able to execute. So that's why the finance is very important, and network, as we are seeing ourselves as a partners of the startups. So we are also helping them to open new doors, build new channels, accessing new capital. So we are so excited about this.
Yeah, yeah, I love that so much. And, obviously you guys have both had amazing, you both have an amazing background, amazing achievements. And, all of this has obviously helped you, through your growth consultancy, for example. But I'm kind of thinking of maybe some of the, less experienced members of the audience here. And I want to ask this because maybe it's going to help them, because obviously, professional success helps you to gain this experience and can help you be a better investor. But are there any other things, if you kind of look back in your life, and I don't know if it's school or sports that you did, or, what else has helped you to be so good at what you do today in venture capital? And
I can
Jessica?
start on this.
Yeah,
Go
Arsu,
ahead.
Okay,
perfect.
Jessica,
Go
go
ahead,
ahead. Actually, I strongly believe that investing in your personal brand is the paramount thing, element in your career. So to be able to successful in any other category of business life, you need to focus on your personal branding, and you have a voice. You need to be heard. This is very important. So, and the other thing is building communities is very important. Why we need community to give them and get support from the community and learn from each other, share the knowledge. So that's why creating value is other important thing. If whatever you are doing, in your business, you need to be able to successful. So you need to valuable partner of the community, because each of us, each human, needs bigger, bigger communities than us. So that's why pay it forward or giving back are the important things. And also sometimes we need to unlearn, when you're starting a new career or new business from scratch, or VC industry, we know, we are successful. We were the powerhouses. We were the trailblazers. But when we run into this business, we are starting to be defined as emerging fund managers. It's kind of different to be adopt this type of terminology, but you need to unlearn. You need to be humble. You need to open to learn. And the other thing is that asking great questions is really important to speed up, to learn immediately, to build communities and networks. And asking stupid questions, you shouldn't afraid of asking stupid questions as well. So be open-minded. If you are a new into VC business, and I also highly suggest that go to apply for VC Labs new cohort. Yeah, these are my insights.
I love that so much. And I do want to come back to some of the things that you just said, Arsu. But before, Jessica, what about you?
I think that like talent and skill are important in anything that you try to do, and obviously building that experience is important as well. But the thing that has helped me most, and actually something that I look for in founders as well, is this like grit. Like, how bad does this person want it, and what is motivating them? And I think if you can prove yourself through other activities that you do, that you have kind of this like high resiliency, as much as you try, the more and more things that you do to prove that, you just get better at it over time. And I think good markers of that are sports. People who have played an individual or team sport have, and over a long period of time, you can assume that they've been like beaten down, yelled at, run till they puked. Like they've been in situations where you've had to kind of build this muscle of resiliency, and I think that's really important. And when you are fundraising to LPs, you need that. You need to be able to hear 50 no's before you get your first yes and not be discouraged. And I think the only way to keep going is to know in the back of your mind that like the only way that this thing is that you're dreaming of is going to happen is if you execute and you make it happen. So I think cultivating that mindset is the most important thing. And I would say the second thing is piggybacking off of what Arzu said about building community. I'm not sure if you were gonna go there next, Myrto, but yeah, we can talk more about that.
Yeah, no, please carry on. Let's talk about community a little bit, because that's such a, easy win, easy. I mean, anyone can do it, right? You can start at any age, you can start whatever community you want. So yeah, please, Jessica, tell us more about that. Let's kind of go deeper with community.
Yeah, sure. I'll just speak from personal experience because I am originally from Michigan, Midwest. So I've had kind of my professional career has been mostly in two cities, San Francisco and Seattle. And I spent a long time building and cultivating this like network in San Francisco. And then when we moved to Seattle, like I didn't know anyone. And I was like, oh no, like I have to try to get clients. And now starting and launching a firm, I had to get like integrated in the VC community here like very quickly. And some of the ways that I did that was I just started going to events. Like I went to like every freaking event that was in town, like over the course of a couple of months over the summer, because Seattle kind of also shuts down in the winter. It's like gray, dreary, no one wants to go out. So I kind of said, okay, I have like the sunlight months, like just a few months to kind of hit this hard. And it was like every tech event. So probably like 2 events per week I was going to. And I just started meeting people. And then I just started like following up from those events, having coffee with people. And it just kind of started building from there. And what I noticed was that after a couple of times, like people started knowing who I was. And then I would have meetings with other people and they would say, oh, I've heard of you, or I've heard of what you're doing. And that was just another like signal, that I was credible or, legitimate, I think. And after 6 months now, of doing that, I feel like I'm like very much in the community, like everyone at least knows who I am. And I also benefit from being in, I would say, like a smaller VC community. It's not as big as San Francisco or New York. And that has helped tremendously. But what I would say is I think it's really intimidating to reach out to people sometimes. And if you are an aspiring emerging manager, you have to get over that hump really, really quickly. But I would say like my best advice is like ask for the meeting. Just ask for the meeting, and even if you get a no, like something hopefully good will come out of it. Yeah. And I think one thing, Arzu, I'm actually going to credit Cheetah with this. But one thing that she shared, Arzu's co-founder, was something like, you should basically like you should always be catching up with people. Like you should always be just like having time on your calendar that's just like for catch-ups, because you never know what other people in your network are up to and when their paths like might cross yours for some opportunities to come up. And I thought that was great advice.
Exactly. And it's so important to talk about community, because I can't think of a single aspect of venture capital that's not community driven, whether it's kind of the LPs that invest in your funds, especially at the first funds, or the founders that you invest in. So it's so crucial. Arzu, how have you built community? How has that helped you? And also, where does personal brand kind of fit into all of that? You mentioned personal brand, and I think that's also such a crucial aspect.
Yeah, exactly. For the community, 3 of us since the beginning as a strategically focus on our first degree connections, because we three of us are very well known in our industries, and that's why it was so easy to get the capital commitments and start from ideation to launching our funds. It took only 3 months. So that's why the community, without a community, without a VC lab community, without a technology startup ecosystem, it wouldn't be, it wouldn't be happen. So that's why we received a lot of support from our communities. Network is the best asset that we have. So that's why we use our network very strategically. Sometimes, yeah, Çiğdem is great in catching up with other people. When she's amazing, she's been all the time catching up with people, asking questions and informing them what we are doing. So we learn from each other throughout the process. I can tell. I am most, I want to make sure everything, is ready and in my mind and everything. So from Çiğdem, I learned that, you can go for it. You can speak with any other people. So you don't know who is the most interesting people who might be interested in, working with you. So that's why what I learned from her, this one, is what's really helpful. And Didem is more mindful and more relaxed personality she has. So it was also really helpful, because I noticed that perfectionism is the enemy of us, because kind of related to imposter syndrome as well. I understood throughout the process. So instead of focusing on the perfectionism, get over it, and then don't focus on the perfection, being the perfection. You don't need to have all the answers. Throughout the process, you are learning. Thanks to VC Lab community, for instance, at the end, we immediately start SVB's case, and then SEC regulations change. It would be tough for us to navigate all these new changes in the regulation base. So the team in the VC Lab, it was great, helpful for us. And VC Lab community, we had 2 different groups. Like a squad, we were supporting each other. We were sharing how we are doing and what are the challenges. And sometimes you need to feel you need to have a coach. You need to have some peers, so to be able to relieve your stress and challenges. So to motivate ourselves. I'm so lucky. I have 2 co-founders. So Jessica did an amazing job as a solo GP. So I'm very admire of her. So that's why sometimes, as a human being, sometimes we are so into our engagement with our partners, but sometimes we need to be motivated. So thanks to that, I was turning back to my partners. Whenever they need, I was supporting them. It was a great, both challenging but rewarding process, all of us.
Amazing, amazing. And for everyone here, by the way, we do want to make this into an interactive session. If you've been to a VC Lab event before, you know that you can put your questions in the Q&A section of Zoom. Everyone else, go through the questions, upvote your favorite questions, because we can't ask these to the panel here today. So go ahead and put your questions in the Q&A. Okay, let's talk a little bit about, someone's asking here, what strategies you implemented to build your track record. So, so Oluseyi, you've kind of been keeping in touch with, keeping it, you're in the loop with the blogs and, the kind of advice we share. So Arzu, I know, you mentioned on your LinkedIn profile as well, you are an angel investor. How has that helped you in becoming a VC?
Yeah, as an angel investor, I noticed that if we become you understand better how to invest at the end, and we are using other investors' money as a VC. So as an investor mindset, it should be really helpful. Starting as an angel investor. So, and last 5 or 6 years, I work with, as I told you before, in angel and investment network in both Turkey and Europe and the United States. It was really helpful to understand better, observing, pitched when investment days. I understand, I learn from other people's questions and what do they expect from the startup founders. Because I help startup founders to raise money, but this is the first time I was, putting my money for a startup. So that's why learning from other peers, it was really helpful to me. So yeah, I can tell this one. Start with small investments, understand better other people's questions and how they challenge and how do they look to making new investments. So it will be really helpful to understand better your prospective LP's mindset. So it was really helpful to me, I can tell.
Amazing, amazing. And Jessica, talking about track record, and we don't have to go into a lot of detail, but what do you think
Yep.
it is that, that made your fund attractive to LPs? What is it that you specialize in, and that you were able to kind of distill into, what we call secret sauce, and that really resonated with a lot of people?
Yep. So I do not have like a traditional VC background. And I think that has really made me stand out. And I'm using that instead of saying, oh, I should have got my MBA, or oh, I should have let me, wait 5 years so I can build up this something that is more like quote unquote traditional. I didn't do that because I understood that the operational track record that I have got me the skills to be able to do this job well. And I decided to use that as an advantage versus something else. So for me, I leaned heavily on my operational track record, the outcomes that I personally had a hand in creating for our clients. And then I also leaned on the small investment track record that we had of deals that came out of the agency. It ended up being the small portfolio it's like up 3x right now or so. And we had one breakout winner out of 7 investments. So from a percentage perspective, it was pretty good. I think it's sorry, I'm trying to think what direction I want to go here, but I think what I'm trying to say is that one of the big barriers of entry to VC is thinking that you have to have a very specific track record. And I think that it creates a very high barrier. And that's why we see the, 87% male, 87%, and just it excludes a lot of people. And part of that is that, most VCs that get started either go work at another firm first and move up through the ranks, or they are like very amazing angel investors. But it takes a lot of money to be an angel investor. And even if you can't, to build up a track record of 30 deals or 50 deals to have, some amazing outcomes. And so if that's not in the cards for you, I think there are other ways to show and build this track record, such as being operational in companies and really proving the impact that you yourself had, that you can leverage this and really be a differentiator. So for me, part of the reason why LPs are excited about our fund is because of the access that my operational expertise grants me into the best deals. They want to invest in my fund because founders want me on their cap tables to help them grow their companies. And now that I've done a few deals, that hypothesis is not a hypothesis, it is true. And I can now continue to prove why the secret sauce is working. And that just gains more and more traction for the fund. So it's been successful so far.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we actually have a question here from the audience. They're saying it's often said that kind of your first investments will make or break your fund.
Mm.
Jessica, does that resonate with you? Do you think that's true?
I've been told that many times, or like, you know, and I felt so much pressure, like making the right decision for like the first 3 deals. Look, Arzu, I'd love to hear your take on this as
Yeah.
well, because I
Mhm.
think that it doesn't, like, you would hope that, like, you invest in Uber on your first deal, but I don't think that's true. Like, the odds of you doing that on your very first investment of your very first fund before someone even ever knows about your fund is frankly like pretty low, right? So just like from a reality perspective, I think it's more about proving the access of the quality of deals you can get into, and your reasoning, like your why behind it, and actually quantifying the opportunity for your LPs, and kind of making sure that like they are going to get to the next round, they are going to like have a fabulous exit, and that you can see the path to that. It's certainly not willy-nilly, but I think you also can't be so afraid to pull the trigger that that there's so much pressure on this decision. Um, it's definitely a fine balance between like being a fiduciary, and at the end of the day, like your job is to deploy capital. So yeah. What would you say to that, Arzu?
Yeah, exactly what you said. It's I agree with you. It's just we've been all the time heard this, make it or break thing. It's kind of big pressure for us, but it helped us to make the right decision. In our case, in our experience, it was really helpful for us because we made our first investments uh, last year in November. So after that, we were able to, before that, we were sharing our vision and expectations and what we want to achieve. But at the end, we are showing the results. So we are investing in these companies because of this reason is aligned with our investment focus, investment strategy. So it will be easy for us as a new VC to show our track record we are building. And as Jessica said, it's the kind of deal flow uh, power you can also show the people. So thankfully, we are receiving a lot of startups coming to our pipeline from VC partners, from other our LPs, our friends, and our portfolio clients. So and portfolio companies as well. So we are so confident at this moment because since the beginning we were aware of these 2 companies, and we were following them since the beginning when we were so ready to invest in them because throughout the process we had several conversations with them. So in our experience, it was really helpful, and it was really helpful to convince other LPs to join us and other startups to communicate better with us, and also some partners. They were sharing all this, pouring all these deals, but now they are understanding what is our focus, what do we look for, and we are focused on the SDG alignment or ESG. So it makes our life easier, I can tell, in both ways, LP and startup. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, amazing. And so far we've kind of, talked about being a VC. We've kept it really general, but I would like to kind of, move the discussion a little bit in the direction of kind of being a woman in this space and kind of what comes with that. So maybe we can start off with, how is it for you two being in a male-dominated sector? So Jessica, obviously you told us your co-founder was a male. You went through the experience of working with someone who might not completely be on the same page with regards to kind of market. Arzu, I know, you probably worked with a lot of men, but I know you've been supporting women for a long time. So, you've both been in the tech space. So what's it like being a woman in this sector, and what obstacles and what opportunities does it come with?
I can take this. I'll start. I will say that not only a woman in this space, but I'm also a mom of two, which just like complicates whatever career you're trying to launch. Um, but it also, I don't know, gives amazing perspective and focus to what you want to do. I'm seeing women in this business right now as being a differentiator. Like, again, going back to like, because we're not the cookie cutter VC, who's like, running around Silicon Valley, like in a vest, like you don't have to look that way, right? To like make amazing decisions. And you just have to flip that. Like, I think, there are so many, we all know about this like 2%. We know about this 2% funding rule. We are all here because we're trying to change that, whether you're a founder or a VC. We all know that like the money trickles down. And so in order for female founders to get funded, we need to fund funders who really understand these issues that female founders are building. And men need to understand that too, so that they fund the funders. And I think this was one of the questions in the Q&A as well, but like one thing I learned while I was fundraising is, women 1000% got the pitch. Like, I barely even had to pitch it. They were just like, I understand what you're trying to do. And to pitch to men who, weren't as close to the thesis as women, it was really about pitching the opportunity, pitching the market opportunity, pitching why this is a huge market, what we stand to gain from a capital perspective. And so I think you just have to take that like connotation of like women are weak just out of your brain, because like you're not, right? Like, we make amazing decisions and it doesn't matter. I think in our own minds, like, we just have to level each other up. Like, we're on the same level, and actually our opportunities and our decision making is better because of these reasons. And for me, it's like, because I have personal experience of like having two babies in the, in this way or whatever, like, how does that help me, push past, or how can I use that as a strength? So, and since I've been doing that, like framing it as a like economic opportunity, conversations have been a lot better.
I can add several things to what you said, Jessica. Actually, I always work in male-dominant environments all the time, but you as a woman, as a person, you need to always find your competitive advantage all the time, And also, instead of focusing on victim mindset, I'm rejecting that. Victim of attributional bias, victim of implicit bias, victim of blah, blah. So we have great data. Last week I had another conversation at Chief Network. So I did some research, and I want to share some, findings for this page. Actually, VC firms with more female investing partners excel in success, returns, and profitable investments. And VC firms with 10% more female investing partner hires make more successful investments at the portfolio company level, have 1.5 higher fund returns, and see 9.7 more profitable exits. So there are a lot of, researchers, statistics. I can share it with you, but at the end, you should go back to your data. research results. So it will give you a power, because instead of dealing with male dominance and, biases and gender disparities, we can talk all the time, but what we need to do is just focus on our goals, why we are in this business, and we should support each other, as you are doing, Myrto, in Women in VC program, in VC Lab. So we need to support each other. We need to talk more and more, because I know that many female corporate executives want to learn how to invest in as an LP, and many of them wants to become a VC. Many of them doesn't know that about micro VC and emerging fund manager concepts. So we need to talk more, actually. We need to share more, and we need to build better communities to supporting each other, so to be able to overcome these biases. So as a person, I don't want to focus on this type of, victim mindsets. Being a
Absolutely.
great thing, we are doing a lot of great things, and also there are a lot of diversity statistic. If some companies, organizations focus on diverse teams, they are getting 19% better returns on their innovation projects, etc. So there are a lot of this type of statistics. So instead of focusing on this, as I can also recommend our prospective VCs and corporate executives who is listening to us, focus on your team's diversity. It's really important. It means better work environment, better productivity, and great results. So it should be, action at the end. We are talking too much on this gender diversity, and we notice that there are very small improvements on this. So instead of, even small VCs also should focus on diversity aspects. For instance, our 45% of our LPs are female, and 45% of our startup pipeline in our startups in our pipeline are female. So we also want to embrace the female co-founders. So, and also Adeo and Mike always say that world is on fire, the climate change, and it's a very important topic to address. So we need to be a better VCs, actually. We focus on returns, of course. We want to focus on the better exit, great exit, unicorns. We are betting on them, their success, but at the end, we also look for the other elements as well to invest in.
Exactly. And if you want to make impact as a VC, then you need to bring the profits in no matter what, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. And you both kind of talked about LPs here. And, if the gender gap is big on the founder level, it's even bigger on the VC level, but it's even bigger on the LP level. And Arzu, I can't believe that almost half of your LPs are women. I think that's 10 times the industry average.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Can we kind of talk about women LPs? Who are they? Are we going to be seeing more of them? What are your thoughts here? Arzu, do you want to go first? Because, you mentioned
absolutely. Actually, since the beginning, we are focusing on our stats, how many people, what is the percentage of female, LPs and other things. So these are angel investors who wants to become LP, and some of them are not into this VC world or in angel investing. It was, it requires some time to, how can I say, educate and inform them about the VC investment as a new investment asset. So we did a lot of, not training, I cannot tell, but we informed them about all these details about the VC investments, why it is different from other investment, and why it is, diverse portfolio will be really helpful for them. So it was so not easy, but acceptable for the female potential investors and prospective LPs. What I feel, this one actually, because on the other hand, people tend to support and tend to invest or tend to buy from people who knows better, female understand each other. So when we spoke with male, LPs, we didn't have, bad stories and experiences, but at the end, when we spoke with male LPs, they are always asking that about, performance questions, preventive questions about risk and everything. But female are understand each other, what we want to achieve and how we want to achieve. They know that they had the same challenges in their businesses, and now they are open to learn and immediately take action. So it was very helpful for us to have them on board, actually on board. So and they are also the great connectors to contact us with other female, investors, and they are sharing that. Oh, there's a Clio VC, and they are doing great. They have great aspirations, so go for it. So thanks to our female investors, we received other female investors. So this is kind of building community. Since the beginning we are talking, so you need to also educate your community, nurture your community, and answer all these concern and questions. So because it is so interesting to see for me, many female executives such as, powerhouses, trailblazers, don't understand the VC investment or this type of asset classes. So that's why we need to talk more, we need to educate more, we need to share more with the communities.
Yeah, exactly. And I love the flywheel effect that kind of happened. It's kind of women entering the venture capital space who are statistically going to perform better. And at the same time, they're getting capital from not your usual suspects. So it kind of external capital into the sector. And that's going to, really kind of create this impact at magnitude scale that, we have to be creating here to kind of change the course we're on as a society in terms of climate change. So yeah, I love that so much. Jessica, what are your thoughts on women LPs, their importance?
Yep. I have I know we didn't talk about our funds here for good reason. My thesis is a little bit more tailored to women. So I actually have a 65% LP female base so far. And
Great.
something that I realized in talking, well, for one, many women don't actually know that they are accredited investors, or would fall under that line. So to Arzu's point, it takes a lot of education even to help them to understand what the opportunity is and that they have one. So many women that I have spoken with, one may not know that they're accredited investors, even though they are like Arzu said, they're executives, they're high-powered women, they've done so many things in their life, but they get left out of these financial investment opportunities so often. And so, have the conversation of hey, have you ever invested in a fund? Have you ever thought about investing in a fund? And they'll say no, and I'll say why, and they're like, oh, no one's ever asked me. So I think part of it is this conversation around personal finance is huge, and financial literacy for women is huge, to help them understand that you have so many more options to put your money versus charity. You can make an impact while also making your money work for you in these other ways. And I think just surfacing the opportunity to women is an amazing first step, and you'll be amazed. They might write a smaller check to start if it's their first time, that because they're a little bit more, might be risk averse of trying something new. But you'll be amazed at how many, say yes, and they want to try this just because you were the one that gave them the opportunity. So I think through VC Lab, through this program, through more women emerging managers, we're creating more female investors, which is creating more wealth for women. And like, this is the cycle that we need. And then if more women are accredited investors, it won't be so hard for women managers to raise money because there'll be more capital from people who are excited to give us money. So I think we are all like doing our parts in creating this. Someone just commented, funny, that's me. I love that.
Maybe I can add to what you said, Jessica. And since micro VCs, the fund sizes are less than 50 million, are great places to test the waters as an LP. If you are an angel investor, if you don't think that you are the accredited investor, it is because the ticket sizes are smaller than the big VCs compared to. So through some of our LPs wants to join us because the first thing is understand better the investment structure and learning. Actually, investing their learning. The other group is investing in their deal sourcing. If they are interested in in these technologies, in these companies, they are learning a lot of things from this type of investments and understand better the technological developments. They are keeping up to date themselves. So it is really helpful for them. And in this, very competitive environment, you need to learn fast and act fast. So it is a great place to do this in this VC environment. Beyond that, there are great return on investment as well.
I love that so, so much. And here you have it, everyone, the future of venture capital with Arzu Tekir, Jessica Kamada, and your guys' firms. You guys are going to make so much impact, and we're so excited to see where you're going to go. With the conversation, I didn't even realize that we had reached the top of the hour. So I know you're both extremely busy, so we're going to wrap up here. But thank you so much. And everyone in the audience, thank you for your questions. Thank you for your time. Please follow, these VCs on social media, on LinkedIn, follow their journeys, support them. And, we'll be doing a lot more of these events in the future. Thank you again to our wonderful panel so much. Have great days, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you so
Mirta.
much.
You were great. Thank you, Jessica. Bye.